so you can just sit there and relax. I'm just going to play Prelude, so here's... Have a favorite hymn while we're waiting?
Because I have been given.
Because I have been given much. I love that one. That is one that is dear to my heart. All right. What hymn number is that?
219.
219. Thank you. All right. Let me play Because I Have Been Given Much. Beautiful hymn, beautiful hymn. Okay.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm so excited to introduce Jerald. The first book that I know of, but I think you've wrote some before this one.
That's my first.
This was, oh.
That was the first.
I wish I had this book before I started writing music and getting my book out. He's very good at technique, and this is like has all your scales and you know the circle of fifths, and just if you can't think of something, you just go here. It's like a little Bible, and I go in and there it is. But he didn't leave anything out. But why I asked him to come is one of the conferences I went to a couple of years ago. He had a workshop of improvising hymns, and it was one of the best workshops I ever went to. And he kind of shows what you could do with your students, and also for myself, I just really enjoyed it. And so I've asked him to come talk a little bit about jazz and hymns and improvising, and I think he's just one of the best persons to talk to about it. He can just go to the piano and just play just from the knowledge he has, and he just thinks of it so fast. So he's amazing. He has a lot of books out, and he was some of you may know him because he was president of the chapter here, and then I think you were Bountiful, weren't you?
I was.
Yes. Yeah. So
I was vice president here while I was president of the Davis chapter. Don't do that. That's at the same time. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, very motivated. Music
I'm finishing a book that I'll be coming out with soon where I talk about how to arrange hymns and explain all the different left-hand patterns. So here I have just left-hand pattern after left-hand pattern of what you can do to embellish a hymn. And then this is called Getting Started with Jazz Improvisation. It's only one page. I created, a few years ago, I did a workshop for the music teacher for the state, actually. And they said, can you do a workshop on jazz improvisation? Can you bring us a handout? And I said, sure. And I showed up with a 22-page handout, which may have been a little over the top. If you would like to have this, I can email this to your president and she can send it to everyone. But this goes through, it's just getting started with jazz improvisation, but it talks about all the different 6th and 7th chords, talks about the modes, Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixed Lydian, Aeolian, Locrian. Talks about 2-5-1 jazz chord progressions. And I'll pass this around, you can look at this. It has different examples, different left-hand jazz patterns. But then today we're only going to be talking about this page, page 8. After we go over the hymns and hymn arranging, this is about the blues pentascale. So we'll just kind of look at that for jazz improvisation because I don't want to overload anyone. And then the last thing I'm going to pass around, I can email this to your president as well. Going along with the hymn workshop that I'm doing today, I came out with, and this is something I did for my own students, it's a hymn checklist. I went through the entire hymn book and I organized the hymns according to key signatures, going in order numerically as they appear in the hymn book. And so here, this is the key of C. All of these hymns right here are in the key of C. And it's just a checklist is all it is. But right here I put a box. If they've sight read the hymn, they can check it off. If they've passed it off, they can check it off. If they've performed it, they can check it off. And if they've arranged the hymn, if they want to, they can do that. Part of the hymn challenge, and I explain on the first page, I challenge my own students by the time they graduate from high school to have played through the entire hymn book. For me, I challenged myself to play through the entire hymn book and the entire primary children's hymn book before I went on my mission to Brazil. And the night before I went into the MTC, I did it. It was down to the wire, but I did it. To begin with, as these hymn arrangements are being passed around, when I am having students try to arrange hymns, the first thing I will do is I will open in the hymn book and I will go to 239 where we have Choose the Right, just because we're in the key of C. And I want to keep it simple for students. And what I tell them to do, as you notice, the right hand of Choose the Right is just doing third intervals. It's just doing third intervals. That's all we are doing. So what I tell the students to do is first we can try to make any hymn major or minor. And I use Choose the Right as an example, and many times I will say, let's play Choose the Wrong. And I say, I don't want you to choose the wrong, okay, but I want you to play Choose the Wrong, where we put it in a minor key. Any piece of music, if you take the 3rd, the 6th, and the 7th interval and you flat it, that becomes the minor scale. Now, it's the relative minor. In this case, we have 3 flats. E flat, we have A flat, and we have B flat going in order, or B flat, E flat, A flat. That is C minor scale. It is the relative minor to E flat major. But all I do is I tell students, you're playing the same exact notes from Choose the Right. Instead of playing what you see, every time you see the B, the E, or the A, just play the flat. So then they have this. They've taken a major sounding piece, they're still playing all of the other notes. In their minds, all they're doing, every time they see the B, the E, and the A, they flat it. This is known as, we can refer to it as the tonic minor. Since we're staying on C, instead of C major, this is C minor, which happens to be the relative minor to E flat major. This is my minor scale. for the students, they're reading the notes exactly as they are. In their minds, they're flipping a switch and saying, every time I see the E, A, and B, I'm just going to play a flat. That's it. And it helps them start to focus on getting what the notes are and basically taking it off the page. Students don't realize these are chords. Every measure is just a chord that's been broken up. When we compose, we're taking the music, and what we're doing, we're using scales and chords and intervals and breaking them apart. With hymns, yes?
Okay, I'm kind of slow at this. Okay.
No, you're great.
Okay.
Any questions you have?
I just want to go back to
please
the
ask.
C thing with the E, A. I tend to miss that in the flat. Okay, so you're taking the relative minor on C?
So, no, what we're doing, we take the third, the sixth, and the seventh interval
Okay.
from C. Mhm.
Okay.
That's what we're doing. Yeah, so we're not playing the relative minor because that would be
Yeah,
A
A
minor.
That's what I was
And then, if students did that, they would have to
transpose.
transpose every single note, which they could do. I mean, we could, but that might be torture for them. We don't want to do too much.
So you're taking the third,
The sixth and the seventh.
the sixth, and
The
the seventh.
third, the sixth, and the seventh intervals. And it works with any key.
And you're
You're flatting
flatting
them.
them.
Yep, any key, yes.
Third, sixth, and seventh.
Might it sound more agreeable to our ears if you use our harmonic minor?
You could, yes. And I don't want to throw the students off too much. The harmonic minor, we don't take that seventh down. So we would keep, if I'm playing an A minor, I have all white keys. If I sharp that seventh, that is how I have the harmonic minor. Many times I don't want to confuse them too much, but the students, I'll say if you want to, you can just do E flat or A flat and don't play the B flat. So then they have that opportunity to practice playing the harmonic minor. But see how it gets a little, the harmonic minor kind of throws it, just, yes.
Okay, so when you're saying the third, sixth, and seventh. and
It's
so-
from C,
From C.
from C.
From C. So what minor is that? I mean.
So that is C minor.
Oh.
Because we have three flats, B flat, E flat, A flat.
Okay,
That's
so
the key of E flat major. If
Okay.
we're in the key of E flat, and we started on E flat, and we went from E flat to E flat, we would have three flats.
Okay, so it's a natural minor.
It's the
Okay,
natural
I got it.
minor, yeah. So
Okay, my
it's the
head-
natural minor to E flat major, but we're just starting on C. The three minors, we have the relative minor, which is your natural minor. We
Yeah.
have the harmonic minor and melodic minor. And so that really helps the students understand why they're learning the scales. I always tell students, I want you to know the theory, but I want it to be applicable. Why are we learning how to do this? It's so we can take the theory and apply it. Intervals. If you look at, do you all have your hymn arrangement piece of paper? The hymn arranging 101? Let's look at this for a second. We have different patterns up here. Now, at first, I show the major key signature, then the minor key signature, where we flat the third, sixth, and seventh, play everything else as written. And then we get into different left-hand patterns. Below the left-hand patterns, on the side, you'll see something that says inverted intervals. Do you see that? Inverted intervals. Okay? The inverted intervals, I teach students that a first interval equals an eighth. A second interval, when you invert it, it becomes a seventh. So watch, C and D is a second interval. If I put the C up on top, that becomes a seventh interval. C and E is a third interval. If I put the C up on top, that becomes a sixth interval. C and F is a fourth interval. If I put the C up on top, that becomes a fifth interval. So the intervals, I talk about inverting the intervals. First becomes eighth, second becomes seventh, third becomes sixth, fourth becomes fifth. They quickly can identify and practice doing this. I will have them play intervals from the C major scale, going up, and then we'll try to take that and invert it, and have them practice doing those inversions. Because when they practice those inversions, the intervals help them with the hymns. Hymns are created using intervals. Primarily, fourth and fifth intervals, and we have a lot of third intervals. The third interval was used a great deal, especially with the triad and the primary chord, because it represented the Trinity. It was a religious number, 3. Okay? The fourth and the fifth, that was used with deity and with nobility. Whenever you had kings, we always had that. We always had that nobility. The sixth interval and the sixth chord were abolished. The church did not allow musicians to use the sixth interval or the sixth chord because it was Satan's chord. Which is why when jazz music came out, they're taking a sixth chord and they're breaking it apart. And so the church and everyone, they were so appalled because that was Satan's chord. That was Satan's interval. But what we have when we have these intervals, we can take the existing intervals and change them. What if I played all 6 intervals with Choose the Right? Okay, all 6 intervals. Now, it really sounds pretty because what we're doing is we're inverting. The melody is up on top right here. Those are third intervals. Well, if you remember, when we invert an interval, the third becomes a sixth. So all I have to do, whatever my bottom note is with my right hand melody, I put that up on top. And you may need to write it out. It takes some practice to be able to do it in your head. But this becomes this. It has a beautiful sound to it. And if you did that with some of these left-hand patterns, 1, 5, 8, 9, 10, 1, 5, 8, 9, 10. If you look at number 9 on the first page, number 9 says 1, 5, 8, 9, 10. On that first page on the left-hand side, we have all of these numbers. These numbers are representing the intervals from whatever your tonic note is. If I'm in the key of C, C would be 1. So when I say 1, 5, 8, 9, 10, I'm referring to 1, C, 5, G, 8, C, 9, D, 10, E. 1, 5, 8, 9, 10. And the nice thing is, you can start anywhere. 1, 5, 8, 9, 10, 1, 5, 8, 9, 10, 1, 5, 8, 9, 10. I can start on any note, and I'm just doing the 1, 5, 8, 9, 10 left-hand pattern. Now we have a lot of left-hand patterns. In the book, I'm going to have hundreds of left-hand patterns that you can use because it's taking the theory and applying it. Watch what happens if I take my third interval and I invert it while I do a 1, 5, 8, 9, 10 left-hand pattern. Now, my left-hand pattern, my right hand, I'm just going to play the rhythm as it is written. My left hand, I'm going to pretend I'm playing all 8th notes. So watch. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... See, I'm playing exactly the right rhythm with my right hand, but my left hand is just doing 1, 5, 8, 9, 10. It's very, very beautiful. It's very, very simple, and students quickly understand it. What they don't get at first is how and when they change. We don't have any chords written above each measure. And I will assign them and say, I want you to, we can print out a copy, and I will have you write down above each measure what the chord is in that measure. In the primary children's book, they've already done that for us, which is fantastic to have students practice. If you notice, above every measure, they have the chord. Above every single measure, they have the chord for that specific measure. And so what I tell students, whatever the note is, the letter of that chord, that's going to be your starting point. 1, like 1, 5, 8, 9, 10. Your left hand would play on C and do 1, 5, 8, 9, 10 on C. And then, measure 3 has an F. So the left hand would go up to F, and the left hand would play 1, 5, 8, 9, 10, starting on F. So then, the students can take a simple piece like Will Bring the World His Truth,
what if there's like, the chord changes in the middle of the measure?
It just happened right here. Halfway through. It just happened. So, 1, 5, 8, 9, 10. If we have a song that has 4, 4 as the time signature, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I just break it in half. If you have 3, 4, then you have to change the rhythm a little bit because 1 and 2 and 3 and works perfectly, but 1 and 2 and 3 and you have to figure out where you want to break it. And it just depends on what the right hand is doing with the melody. Because it may, if the right hand is playing on the and, then you may want to wait and then come in on the 2 and 3 and. So it all depends on what your right hand is doing. Yes, did you have a question? Oh.
No,
Oh.
just moving around.
So it's a fun idea to have students try different left-hand patterns. Let me show you some of these left-hand patterns on this handout. Number 1 just says 1 to 5. Just going back and forth from C to G. I'm just going back and forth from C to G. The next pattern, 2, says 1, 5, 8. Now it's playing the middle C, and I need that middle C to start on, so I can either take my left hand down an octave, or I can take my right hand up an octave if I want to play up higher. And with students, I will have them try to take, and I will just call out, even if they're playing what is written, I will say, right hand goes up an octave, left hand stays where it is. Both hands go up an octave. Left hand goes down 2 octaves, right hand stays up. And so they're playing, and I'll say, right hand up an octave. And I'll say, left hand down an octave. So it gets them out of staying in this position or where the piece has been written. It helps them begin to realize, I can go up high, I can go down low. And I'm playing exactly what is written. I'll tell students, start up high, and then come down, and come down again. Even though they're only playing what is written, it sounds as if they've done something different to it, because they've changed it. They've just changed the position. Have the students go up high, have the students go down low. And it's great to have the students, I like to think of it like follow the leader. The teacher, you can be the leader, and you can say, okay, follow me, do what I say. Right hand will go up, left hand will go down. And they just play, and it's wonderful for the students to play around. Because all of a sudden, the music as it is written comes alive to them. When I was younger, my teachers did not like this. But I would play the hymn exactly as it was written, and then I would say, do you want to hear how it sounds upside down and backwards? And they would say, what? And I would say, oh, it's easy. All we do is this. We turn the hymn book upside down, and then we start at the end of the piece instead of the beginning, and then the right hand becomes the left hand becomes the right hand. And I said, it's great for sight reading. You're still playing the same notes, but then it's unlike anything you've heard before. Upside down and backwards. It sounds great. And my teachers would say, is something wrong with you? Are you okay? What? Yes.
You changed the clefs then?
Yeah, my right hand was playing what the bass clef was doing, and my left hand was playing what the treble clef was doing.
Oh, so you don't change clefs?
No, oh no, yeah. So I'm just playing, reading it exactly as it is. It's just upside down and backwards. But it's helpful for sight reading especially, because the students then need to rely on, I've never heard that before. What are those notes? Just play what you read. It's great. Yes.
Okay, so what you just said, okay, so when you turn it upside down, your right hand's really playing the bass clef, but it's the treble?
Exactly.
But
My
your
right
right
hand
hand's the treble.
is playing what was the bass
You're
clef.
reading it in treble clef.
Exactly, I'm reading it in treble clef. And my left hand, which was the treble clef, I'm now reading it in bass clef and playing it with my left hand. It's a great exercise for the brain. I mean, it really is very, very good. But you're just sight reading. It's the ultimate sight reading exercise. And it's fantastic because I'll turn it upside down and backwards. And I had one student say, you know, that would be a good song. And I said, I know, we could publish it, no one would know. No one would have any clue that, hey, it's just upside down and backwards. You know, it's a great song. But that's what we're doing. We're helping them to think outside of the box, is what we're trying to do. To get them to look at the music and think, how can I change this if I'm arranging it? Or if you are wanting to arrange it as well. Anytime there is a half note or a whole note, I tell the students, move. Do something with it. Don't just stay there. Move. Let me show you, I'm a child of God. We have this beautiful part. Do something with that. Don't just stay there. What if we do a scale? And I tell the students, we're on the A. Now, we're in the key of D. But what if we start on the A and then go down to the A and just do all the notes from the D major scale as if we're doing a scale, but we're just starting on A. So then this... all I did was a scale. Why do we learn scales? Why do we teach scales? It's so they can do something with them. You know, students say, oh, why am I learning this scale? You can embellish the music. You can take that half note or the whole note, and during that rhythmic pulse, instead of just holding it, do something with it, where you can change it. Many times, look at I'm a Child of God, we have a quarter note, then two eighth notes, then another quarter note, then another quarter note, then a dotted half. I tell students, if you have a quarter note, play eighth notes. And they say, but how do I know which notes to play? And I say, if you have intervals, just break them apart. So watch, we have D and F sharp, then D and G, and then we have E and A. Well, D and F sharp, what if I just play F sharp then D? I'm playing exactly what is written, I'm just breaking it apart. I took the notes that are there and I'm just breaking them down, which is very, very helpful for students because they can say, oh, that's easy. I can do that. I can take that and I can just play the top note and then play the bottom note. And it's great when you have like a sixth interval where you have a passage where you're moving in sixes. It sounds beautiful. What we're doing is we're helping them say, these are the intervals, blocked, broken. How can we take those intervals and incorporate it into the music? On the handout, we go to 1585, 1. Number 3, 15851. And then number 4 is a slight variation where we do the first set twice. 1585, 1585. Now you don't want to use that only throughout a piece because that will become very monotonous. Okay? We just get that pattern over and over again. It's great if you're playing a new age piece. If you want to have students sound like David Lungs, that's what you can have them do. 1585, 1585, and then have the right hand just say play sixth intervals. My thumb is on E, my pinky is on C. I'm going to go up, just in order, playing all sixth intervals. See that? While my left hand plays this 1585, 1585. See how I have that? Okay. What if I went to F with my left hand and played 1585? Those intervals apart. Remember how we talked about playing the top note and then the bottom note. C is on the top, E is on the bottom. My left hand is on A, I'm playing 1, 5, 8, 5. So I'm going to play C with the right hand, then E, I'm just taking the sixth interval, and I'm going to break them apart. Actually, that's already a song. Okay, but that's what I'm doing. That's apologize. Okay, wonderful. But that's what we're doing. We're just taking and breaking it down. We're taking the intervals and we're breaking them apart. And the students love doing that. Just doing sixth intervals with my right hand. With my left hand, I'm just doing 1, 5, 8, 5, 1, 5, 8, 5, 1, 5, 8, 5. It's that left hand pattern from number 4. Now, on the back side, we go through all of these other left hand patterns. And I won't play them all. You can practice them at home. Try doing them starting on C, and then try to do them in every key signature. Try to play them key of C. Try to go up half a step. There should be several copies somewhere. Somewhere. Oh, they're over there. You can go through every key, moving up in half steps, playing all of these. Can you imagine assigning, which I do, a student and saying, okay, take this left hand and practice doing it in all keys. Moving up in half steps. Take number 1. Take number 2. And you can practice doing a simple piece. What if you did Mary Had a Little Lamb? To get them thinking about improv. Or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Watch this. Let's say I do number 1. The perfect fifth interval broken apart. Sounds familiar, right? What if I went up half a step? We can go through every key doing that. I can take any of these patterns. Look at let's go to number 6. 1, 5, 8, 1. 1, 5, 8, 1, 5, 8. So on the back of the page, you'll see number, and we see all these different patterns where I've added more and more. But I'm just taking these left-hand patterns, breaking them down. And then you can try it in all keys. I'll have students take a hymn, and I'll say, try to play number 1 as the left-hand pattern. And we've gone through and already discovered what the chords are in every single measure. But it's helpful for them. Look at down here. I want to spend most of the time right now focusing on this little section down here. It talks about some different ideas on how to change. Chord modifications. Tonic becomes submediant. Well, tonic is C. If we're in the key of C, that's your C. What is the submediant? The 6. So watch this. Here, tonic, supertonic, mediant, subdominant. There's my dominant, submediant. That's my 6th. Well, every time I see a C, I'm going to play an A. It changes the way it sounds completely. Let me show you Silent Night. This is a beautiful example. Silent Night, we're in the key of B flat. So B flat would be the tonic, it would be the 1 chord. So here, I have B flat. I'm embellishing a little bit. Every time I see my 1 chord, I'm going to play the 6th. Well, in the key of B flat, it's my G. That's my 6th. So watch this. Play everything else as written. All I did, I modified 1 chord. Now, I was doing 1, 5, 8, 9, 10 with my left hand, but I modified 1 chord. The number 1 chord, B flat in this case, became the 6th. Every time I saw B flat, I always played G. And in this case, it's G minor because we have B flat, E flat in the key signature. So the 6th interval is a G. The 6th triad is G minor, which gives a really beautiful almost shattering effect when you're playing and arranging a hymn doing that. That is what the chord modification is. Below that it says add chords below the melody with the right hand. Now, this you really need to practice doing your chords. Many of you probably have practiced doing all of your basic major triads, the minor triads, the diminished triads in all keys, the augmented, okay, all of the major sixth chords, moving up the half steps, all of the minor sixth chords, going through every key, all of the major seventh chords, okay, all of the minor major sevenths, dominant sevenths, they have minor seventh flat to fifth. What I am doing with this, and this is where it takes some practice, your pinky will play the melody. Below the pinky, you're going to put the chord in whatever inversion. How many of you have students practice doing their basic major triad, root position, first inversion, second inversion, and they have a difficult time memorizing which inversion it is? I have had so many students who have a tough time doing that. So what I did, I came up with a little example to help them. I said, when you're in root position, C, E, G, this is a C major chord, everything is evenly spaced. We have a key between the C and the E, and we have a key between the E and the G. Since it's evenly spaced, I tell them you are in root position, whatever note is on the bottom is the name of the chord. If we do first inversion, I'm going to put the C up on top. Now I have C major in first inversion. The notes are E on the bottom, G, C. Well, I tell the students, we have two keys up here on the top, and we have one key on the bottom. Between the E and the G, there's only one key. Between the G and the C, there are two keys. So I ask the student, is this chord top-heavy or is it bottom-heavy? And they say, oh, well, it's top-heavy because there are two keys up on top. And I say, if it's top-heavy, whatever note on top is the name of the chord. So this is C major, because C is on top. Now, top-heavy chords are always in first inversion, always. If I put the E up on top, that is my second inversion chord. Well, I tell the students, is it top-heavy or bottom-heavy? And they say, now you have two keys down on the bottom between the G and the C. You have two keys. Between the C and the E up on top, you only have one key. So they say it's bottom-heavy. If it's bottom-heavy, the note in the middle is the name of the chord. And I will have students practice just playing a chord and figuring out what it is with the right hand in the different inversions, and then moving from one chord to the next, where they move one finger at a time. Do I have a teacher who would like to come volunteer? I'm going to show you something. Do I have any brave? I mean, you're all brave. Let's have our president come up, just because this is your gig. So, watch this. She's going to play a C major chord. In root position, we have C, E, G. Okay? Now, play a C octave interval with your left hand. Good. Now, just move one finger. I'm going to have her move her pinky over to the right. So now she is playing C, E, A. And how did you know to change that?
Because it is an A chord.
Because it's A minor, Whatever note is on top, when it's there, now change the middle finger, move to the middle finger just to the right. Now she's playing C, F, A. Now she moved the left hand up to the F octave interval because her right hand is playing F major chord. So we're moving chords, and the students are learning what the chord names are and how they relate. Now, good. There's C major. Good. Now for fun, bring the pinky down to the B. Now you're going to play E, G, B. That's root position. Good. Now bring your thumb down to the D. That's G major. Not too difficult, is it? Okay. And the students have a fun time practicing this. This is what I'll show them. Let me show you. I'll start on C, and I'll say, move your pinky to the right, but keep the C and the E where they are. So that's top heavy. So that is A. I'm going to play an E octave interval with my left hand. Now, if we move the E over to the right, just one note, the other two stay where they are. Now this is my F major chord, but it's bottom heavy. So the note in the middle tells me that it's an F major chord. Now if I move my thumb over, just one note, I'm going to D. Now I have D, F, A. That's a D minor chord. The students start to understand what these chords mean. And I will even say, in the beginning, in root position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're just calling out numbers according to the major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The primary chords, of course, are 1, 4, 5. They're called primary chords because they're the major chords, and they're the ones you primarily use when you are playing any major piece or composing a major sounding piece. The secondary chords are 2, D minor, 3, E minor, 6, A minor, and 7, B diminished. Because they're the chords that are used secondarily because you're using your primary chords first off. So I tell the students, in root position, I'm just going to call out random chords. Play the octave interval with your left hand. 1, go to 6, go to 4, go to 2, go to 3, go to 6, go to 4, go to 1, go to 5, go to 2. It's a great exercise to have the students practice, and it helps them start practicing the transitions. Sometimes I call it the stutter effect. When students are having a difficult time going from one chord to the next, they create a pause or hesitation, and it really takes away from the magic of the music. Because all of a sudden they say, oh, they didn't really make a mistake, but it took them 5 seconds to find the chord, and so it sounds as if we're disconnecting with the audience. So that helps them find what the next chord is that they're going to. And I tell them, we're just playing root position. Now try to do different inversions. Okay? Here I have F major first inversion. Here I have A minor root position. F major second inversion. C major root position. G major first inversion. D minor root position. E minor root position to the second inversion. F major root position to the second inversion. Back to root position. Up to the first inversion. They're practicing getting the chords down, and it helps them so much understand what the chords are. So then when I play something like Silent Night, where my pinky is playing the melody, what if I put just a basic triad with the right hand? See that? Then my left hand is free to play around. My left hand is just doing 1, 5, 8, 9, 10. But then I tell students, once you get your chords down where you know them very, very well, what if I did a major 6th chord below the melody with my right hand? What if I did a minor 6th chord? What if I did a major 7th? Listen to this. This is my B flat major chord. The 6th interval is a G. So a B flat major 6th chord is B flat, D, F, G. If I want to keep my F as my melody up on top, I'm going to put the G down below. Listen to Silent Night, where the right hand plays only 6th chords. Okay? It changed the way it feels. It's a little more jazzy, but it changed because we're adding a different color to it. Well, that's a 6th. The 7th would be the A. Okay? The 8th, the octave, would be the B flat. The 9th would be the C. Listen to this 9th chord now. I'm keeping the melody on top, and then below it I'm playing the extensions, the 6th, the 7th, the 9th. And students, this helps them understand, why am I learning how to play all major 6th chords in all keys, in all inversions, doing blocked and broken? Why? Are you trying to torture me? Well, yes, a little, but I want you to know the chords, so then it becomes second nature. you can take something and say, okay, I want my melody on top, and I will just add the notes below it. And it helps out so much as the students are doing that. What time do we end today? Again?
Probably just around, well, now, or, I mean, just, we gotta, you know.
Okay, I'll wrap things up. Down below this, it says major octave chords. Okay? The major octave chord, whatever your note is playing, the pinky, the thumb, so in this case, B flat. The major octave chord would be to have the full B flat, D, F, B flat. All you do, whatever note is on top with the right hand, add that to the left hand. And you create depth and power. If I, going back to choose the right, if I play choose the right, if I play choose the right just using the notes as they are, it sounds wonderful. If I want it to sound powerful and majestic, I'm going to play whatever note is on top with my pinky. I'm going to add the exact same note an octave below with my thumb. So listen, this becomes this. Now the only thing missing from the full octave chord is the fifth. So I'm going to add that. But you can see how you can take and you can start to embellish and you can change what is on the page just by applying the theory. It's all about the intervals, it's all about the scales, it's about the chords, knowing how to incorporate them. I like to refer to it as the practical application of music theory. Why are we learning it if we're just doing it on its own little island, the island of music theory, without actually applying it, arranging, composing, putting it into practice, where you say, oh, that's what I can do with this left-hand pattern. When they start doing this, not only does it engage the student and help get them excited and motivated, but all of a sudden they say, I want to try to do this. Most students never arrange or compose because they haven't been shown how to do it. Once they're shown a few patterns, they'll come back the next week and all of a sudden it's like you've unlocked some monster, and that's all they want to do. But I mean, it's because they understand this is why I'm learning the theory, and this is how I can apply it.